What up? What up? What's up? Y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what time it is. It's Hot Mike Friday. What up, everybody? What the hell is up? We back. Had to take a little vacation, get away with things. Had a couple things we got to deal with, but we are back. Mo back. Look, tonight's show, when we come back, we try to come back with a blast when we take a little vacation. But that gives me a chance to sit around, visit other people, see what the community looking like, see what they're talking about. And one of the things that I see is important is, at least for us anyway, is we have a certain way of dealing with the American Pit Bull Terrier. Our way of doing it, what we share with you guys, is based off of our experience. So I always try to make that clear. It's never always been about what's the right way, you know, not even as much as what's the wrong way, because everybody has their option of how they do things. But the purpose of why we do the things that we do, and talk about the way we talk in our experiences, because we take the success based on what we did, and we try to get you guys to understand where that comes from. And as we go back and talk about some of these things, you'll notice that we're basically talking about things that other people have already done. So it's not like we're trying to recreate the wheel. The fact is, what we're trying to show is the success of others. Not, and a lot of them, you have to understand, for us in our generation, in our time period, to breed the way we were breeding, and we're telling you that we're breeding the way that people and our mentors were getting their success. Look at it as we keep going back. That takes us back into the Tants, the Patricks, because these people were taking these dogs and breeding them their own separate type of way, but in a way that is cohesive what the people prior to them were doing based on the success. That's generally how Mau Mau, M&M, Stone City, Southern Kennels, Hardcore. A lot of these guys, when we talk about them, because we can talk about their great dogs, they're just not like Bill around the corner or Jeff up the street. These people have put in the time and the work, and when you, hey, for us, when we sit back and we were going through our processes, even when we were skilled in this game, we're taking what we've seen and what we know, and we incorporate it and do the things that we did. Keeping in mind what we already know. And the one thing I learned about these bulldogs, we didn't learn to get where we have gotten based on what we heard. So we always told you guys clearly, never made it a secret. RKP, which we call, for us, he's our modern day Earl Tudor. Simply because, not just because of the dogs that he have had his hands behind, and there's been a lot of them out there. He's still a going hard man, but he just doesn't, he's not like us. He'd rather be in the back and just keep doing what he's doing, and that is just creating a good bred American Pit Bull Terrier. And through conversations and success is only going to be based on when they sit down at that round table and they go to talking about things, they're not just average people picking up pedigrees and just looking. These are men that are sitting there talking about based on things that they know, things that they have experienced based on other dogs, other kennels. What would fit good with what you want to do? And when you figure that out, what you want to do, like he says, hey, this is what we're going to do. The rest is up to us to say, okay, that part's done. Next part come, ain't nothing left to do is say, just to see, is it worth, was that breeding worth it? Are these dogs worth the time it took us to get to this point based on that decision we made to get here? Well, if y'all look back at it, it has been done like that since the beginning of the breeding program, as far as I'm concerned. These men went without the pedigrees, was taking dogs, breeding them to dogs just based on the dogs. And if this man is breeding good dogs, they're going to try to ride it as long as they can. Other people might take it and use it a certain type of way, but you'll notice for the people who have success have almost the same dogs, but breed them a different type of way. You know, they're breeding them a certain type of way that's bringing you a better idea. All right, this one had the same stuff. He bred this way, but so and so had it, and he went that away. History has shown y'all we don't have to wait because history. You know, we can walk through history and say that way right there was good. They created some, but it didn't do like so and so did it because he created better. And when I talk about these people, I'm talking about these people. You know, they did this on their yard. Somebody else came in and bred, you know, and they chose to breed it this way, and they kept that being consistent. And it showed itself over time compared to where this one didn't. Now, we can blame it on, it all depends on who's doing the breeding, on who got the dog. You know, look, this game has always been done the same way. Regardless of which way you went, the dog always spoke for itself, not the papers, the dog, because that's what always was the the simple original outcome based on everybody's experience in the American Pit Bull Terrier. The paper doesn't really mean anything. The thing that everybody's looking at, which is that specimen of an American Pit Bull Terrier, that is always what has drove people to pick up the paper. So we trying to go back to the time of, hey, this formula that we always talking about, even when it came to our dog's success went beyond our yard. David Tant, Mau Mau, Eminem, Stone City, Southern Kennels. These guys' dogs, hardcore. These guys' dogs actually were able to get outside these individuals' kennels and give you the performance that was necessary that we could still talk about those people's dogs. Now, understanding that, we've been out the dog game quite some time. Now, you know, and we always get that question of, Twin, if it was you, what would you be breeding? Well, why would we change anything that we have done over the years? I would expect most people to think that if they already have the knowledge and they out here giving up the jewels, basically saying how they did it over the years, then I would think that you would already know how we would be breeding. What would be bred? It don't never have to be Mayday stuff. How many times have we told you? We've had more than Mayday. If you look at our pedigrees, that should already take care of those matters. Because it took more than just Mayday for us to be able to do the things we've done over the years. No. Mayday was long gone. He's long gone, but you're still going hard dogs out here. They are. And they might not be what you are used to seeing, but after 20 plus years, why wouldn't it change? But if you stick to the same formula that got us this far, why would we get away from it? The dogs' names have changed, but that does not mean the formula on how you create those dogs will change. It will never change. This is how breeders are able to be consistent over many years of breeding programs because they're just the breeders. The consumer, for one that has a dog, it's his job to make that breeder worth talking about. It's those people that have those dogs. If you're selling dogs, okay. But then we weren't in the market of selling dogs. Not a lot of people had the opportunity to have those dogs. For the ones who had the opportunity to have those dogs, they made those dogs worthy of talking about. So it's always for us. You should be able to step in at any moment and any time to be able to create something. It's like, how are you going to forget how to ride a bike? How are you going to forget to learn how to swim? Especially if it comes down to you drowning. One thing you got in your favor, at least you know how to stay afloat. Or I know how to swim. These things are things that are automatically embedded into what you do when it comes to certain situations. Breeding of these dogs has always been something that we have learned based on KP Mo's knowledge and understanding that where they can consistently still create good bulldogs. Now, one of my reasons I speak like that because a lot of people have to understand when it comes to what we've done. I never ever felt like I told y'all, we ain't gonna sit here and bullshit y'all. Last thing we do worry about is capping. Y'all know how I feel about twin capping. But one thing twin don't never have to worry about. Like I said, there's nothing back there in the past that you can't change. If you look hard enough, you'd be surprised. I hear people talk about Gigi. Yeah, I've heard them talk about it, but you have to understand Gigi is still a going hard dog. Regardless of how you look at it, who else's names and everything else and everything. The fact is, without Gigi and those papers, them dogs wouldn't be shit. They wouldn't have nothing to talk about. Who's another one that I hear out here? Maytu. Maytu, have to understand, Maytu was a going hard dog. The many ways that KP and them did things, they at least stuck to a format to where they could create good dogs. Yeah, Mayday was a going hard dog, but Mayday was not a going hard match dog. I mean, Maytu, he wasn't a match dog, not as far as we were concerned, but he was able to produce good dogs. And them good dogs were able to make it possible for even Maytu to even be talked about. Baby. Now we don't talk about we know we got that grand champion Ruby Red over there, but some people be wondering, well, what she produced, twin? Well, I'll let Mo go over that. Got to still remember, she was she was a going hard bred dog. Somebody else created, put them things together, and made that happen. But like everyone who was able to do that, guess what, fellas? I ain't known too many that didn't have something that came off their yard that didn't produce something. And I'm not talking about just one something. I'm talking about a bunch of something. They ain't us. They're just using our shit. That's where it has been, though, over all the years. Same thing with Stone City. It wasn't them who did the breedings on our yard. That was us. That wasn't Victor and them doing them breedings. That was us. But it was still, you have to give them in they props, because we're only duplicating something had already been done. They just had the best of it, and it took us to do what we did to make them even think about, well, we got to sit there created they shit. We might as well just bring the the bad dogs together. But look what it led to. That we can still talk about these dogs over years and years and years of doing and breeding American Pit Bull Terriers. Now, purpose of this is, let's get back into the American Pit Bull Terrier as it moves forward, because it's not about the purpose anymore. Because the dog don't know the purpose. It's about what made a Pit Bull Terrier the even worthy of, first of all, even looking at the box. The athletic, the build, the stamina, the breathing, the attitude, the drive. I mean, all those things don't need a box to prove all that. But when it comes down to that heart and soul, that's got to be something that's already in the dog. And over the years, you have to have that ability to know what that looked like. To understand not what he's doing in the box, but what even made it possible for him to even be at the box. What did y'all see in that dog to make him to want to take that dog to the box? And over the many years of doing it, we had that thing in common, and all of them. There was a reason why everybody who wanted to be a box person, fast lane, whatever y'all want to call it, they all had that belief that when they climbed over that wall, that what they had under their arm, it had what it needed to be a winner. Now, we all know it didn't always turn out like that. But some of them learned by getting their heads cracked that whatever I was working on, it wasn't what I thought it was. Now, I got to go back to the drawing board. Even that part's okay. But you can't take nothing away from that man who's on the winning side, and he got what he came for. Yeah, it always depended on the competition, but then you have to understand too that competition came at different levels, and it always depended on what level you wanted to play on. So I know back, I hear guys talk about a lot of dogs and a lot of dogs that they've seen, but then the only time I ever hear about those dogs is when you sitting there talk about that dog. Prior to that, I would have never known who that dog was. So that's true. Different dogs are known in a certain area. But let's look at it from my standpoint of view. People know the people's dogs that I'm talking about. Because of the level that I can talk about it. There's a difference. I can talk about Nico Jr. I can talk about Yellow Buck, Mayday, Twisted, Rascal, Bosco, Cock Diesel, Mechanic. I can talk about these dogs because I've dealt with these dogs. When you see these dogs, you breed into these dogs. These are things that you know, and you know what you expect based on I'm only doing what they was doing anyway. So all grand champions and champions don't work. Okay, y'all believe that. They all don't work. But it ain't the grand champion and the champion that makes us even consider that. Simply because we look beyond the title and look back and try to understand what made the title. The dog did. What's in that dog? I got to get whatever in there and see if I can match it up. Just because I got a good chest dog over here, and all of a sudden I'm bringing in a dog that I don't know nothing about, you're going to act like you know what kind of traits this dog is going to have? It's no way possible. That's why you'll notice a lot of our breedings wasn't done in the dark. They was always bred to something that we knew what we were expecting in the long run. We all know Mayday dogs were not back end killers. But for everybody to say we ain't deal with nothing but Mayday dogs, well, guess what? Our dogs, going hard dogs, we had those that were back end killers. We know we didn't get that trait from Mayday. But it was a consistent trait throughout our breeding program. You ever want to stop and say, where did it come from and how did you keep it so consistent? Look at the breeding. Look at the dogs. You got heart and determination on the Mayday side with a little bit of the nut. And then you got this athletic, talented, smart, thinking, determined, back end trait. Can't do nothing to stop it because it has the ability to do what it wants to do and dictate it regardless of what you're trying to do. Y'all know that came from somewhere else, and we kind of think, we look at the red A situation, but then you have to start understanding what led up to it to keep continuing throughout our whole breeding situation dealing with those type of dogs. Remember, we still had the Stone City, we still had the Hardcore, we still had the Southern Kennels. They all carried a ROM trait that we were going to get production, but we controlled the type of production that we wanted. How will we know? Okay, on this side, we got great back end dogs. The ones that we using, they just back end killers. We're not out. For us, gameness didn't matter for us. I wouldn't care how game your shit is, can it stop this killer? That's what actually worked in the game, fellas. Not many fights made even back then and through all the years we were doing, not many fights made the hour mark. If you made an hour 30, that's not the average. I say 40, 45 minutes was the average. If you made it that long. But you have to understand the level of the dogs that you talk about. When you get up to the Buck and the Sandmans, two old dogs. Old dogs when they did that. They had the ability to go that long. Jeep Homer had the ability to go that long. Psycho have an ability to go that long. That is where and only where you're going to see what gameness really looks like. Because you got to be game when you're dealing with one that's just as game as you. And when I talk about game, I'm just got two that's just determined I'm not going to stop. I'm here. Well, I'm here too. Well, we just going to be here. You didn't have many of those, and those that you did have, those dogs went on that made it with success. You very seldomly see a 5-time grand champion that all 5 of his matches was over 2 hours. All 5? Is it possible? You can make 5 and all of them be over 2 hours? Because I'm going to tell you, he a gamer, But let me find out, did he go on the right shit to put his ass asleep? Because that's always the question. If you ever really wanted to find out, if you ever thought you had something that you really wanted to say, I think I can take him. Maybe that's why Queen had 8. That's why Tornado had 10. That's why Red Ruby has 7. Sometimes you just think you can beat them, and then sometimes people know that they can't with dogs like Pandy. Why take a chance? Oh, she ain't been. I got something to get in there with her. She ain't been over 30 minutes yet. Well, okay. But when you that bad that everybody already know, no, it ain't because of what they hearing. If they hearing anything, they know no, because what is it going to take to outlast what this dog is doing in such a short time period? It didn't take a whole bunch of dogs for people to figure that out. And we know that personally because hey, you're good, y'all great dog, man. But hey, look, even the smart ones know sometimes it's just some dogs ain't meant to be messed with, and that was just one of them. That don't take nothing away from the man who said no. That just made it obvious that he wasn't the only one that was saying no. Luther had 7 fights. Now, whether you guys know it or not, he really had 9. And out of that 9, he really did have 7 DOAs. 7. Now, a lot of people don't know that, and I know that because I see get around, I see these dogs pop up, all on Facebook, and then I see them, some of the things they say, and think that, well, this dog here, like Art against Luther. 2 Ohio dogs. Art against Luther. Come on now. It was evident that Luther and that bunch they had over there, at least from the people from Ohio, and if you take a look at Dolomite and Dunk and Luther and Satan, a lot of them people that they beat up on were not from Ohio. Them dogs beat up people from all over the country. All over the country. And primarily, they didn't really care. They was actually open to the world. Back in them days, wasn't too many people running in here thinking that they was going to cause some damage, and because you don't hear about them. It wasn't happening like as much as it happens now. But back then, there was no need. That's why America always felt like we had better dogs. And that dog, for us, it wasn't like, bring that shit over here. If you bring it over here, it is enough over here that there's somebody who gonna find out. That was a cockiness back then. Give a damn about that Mexico, or that Russian, or that Balkan. Nothing over there until they bring it back over here. Because over here, there was somebody, and enough of us, that had the right thing to put it to the test. Now, when they get over there, you get American dogs that go over there. Well, maybe that's why they so popular over there, because not everybody over there got what you got. But we're going to show you tonight that a lot of things that went on here, that made it over there, it made it back. And boy, when I say it makes it back, like the Mexican Eli's, like that red boy Jeep shit coming back, they're able to do something that we're not able to do. They still matching dogs. and where we might not give them as much credit as we did in the past. The fact is, you can't help but respect them when they bring them back, and now they're holding their own through the years to be even worthy of even talking about. We've heard all the good names. They out there. You might not understand some of the names. You can almost tell, hey, them dogs, they're not even American bred. Well, guess what? Does that matter? The dog don't know that. The talent of the dog doesn't matter when it comes down to you trying to say what matters and what don't matter. See, the dog is always going to be the individual piece of why you even having a conversation. And because of that dog, now you're going back and looking. You might not understand and see nothing is familiar, but you go back far enough, and if you really understand what you're looking at, when we look at our American papers, we look at them like because of familiarity and names. When they're coming back, there's no familiarity there. All you see is nothing but match dogs. And that should intrigue you enough to try to figure out, even though it wasn't American, but they still match dogs. And they made it back over here. What is it doing? Well, that's why we're talking about it. Because if it was over there, we probably wouldn't have access to it. But it's over here, there's a reason why it's here. Because of the performance. That's what makes you go all the way back and first find out, well, what did they start with? Now we understand what they started with. Let's see how we got to this point right here, why he's such a badass. So now we starting back here and looking, and we work our way to the front. One thing you're going to see is something that we're familiar with. Look how they breed. Look how they bred the mama to take and bring into that. Oh, did they stay so close? Those things do matter in today. And it's no different than what we always been doing. They just bring a new version of it. Not that we don't do it in the States, but then we don't talk about it because we don't do as much as they do overseas anymore. And I'm not advocating people to do it, but what I'm saying is good bulldog don't have to always be in the box, regardless. But to really call that a good bulldog, he's got to be able to show what a good bulldog looks like. We haven't gotten to that point yet. I hear people talk about it. I hear people say a lot of things about what makes a good bulldog, but performance always make a good anybody. Make a good basketball player, boxer, football player. Performance. All day. And we know there might be some people in your neighborhood who can, if they was in the NBA, they would be this and they be that, but that's that big if. Big if is a whole lot different when you talking about I am or he is. He on a different level. Why didn't your boy make it? That'd be some type of reason why he didn't make it. He good, but he had other problems. So, that means he wasn't good enough to be on that level. Sometimes we have to understand and look at these dogs with that thought in mind. And when we talk about these dogs, we want everybody to keep an open mind. And our open mind is trust and believe anything and everything that we're trying to tell you, we've done. Never meant to sit out here and be bragging on them because this ain't about the brag. This is about a contribution back to the game to give the old ones that had at least the ability and the knowledge and at least the integrity and respect for us to even give us a chance to be able to do the things that we did. Now, when you start talking about what that means coming from us, well, that puts me. I'm not a bragging person, but I got a whole lot of shit to show what that did for us. A whole lot. I don't need to use other people's shit. We have many dogs that we can talk about, and we are no. And let me repeat myself. We are nowhere near or close to the claim of fame that the people that we talk about. But just being able to understand why they were able to do the things that they would do made our dogs worthy of being talked about. Because if people wasn't really trying to talk about us, then people, that means they out there talking in some type of way when you think I'm white, or you think I'm Mexican. I mean, why would whatever the hell I am matter? Because you got to be talking about it. Got to be talking about us about something, or something that you've seen, or something that you heard. I don't know. I thought they was black. I thought they was white. I thought they was Mexican. But the fact that you're talking, can't help but respect that. But the fact is, the dogs are only reason that you even talking any damn way. So you got to give respect where respect is due, but in the same token, try to understand, being that we're trying to do the same thing that they did for us, is try to get you on the path of seeing this is what it looks like. These are not breeders. These people here, they're match dogs. Match dogs bred to match dogs. They looking to get match dogs. Been like that ever since Tudor, Leitner. Before them, Carver, Mayfield. See, a lot of those breeders, they used to do their dogs, but a lot of them didn't. They put them in other people's hands and had other people's hands doing them, and before you know it, boom. Now it's how do you keep it like that? There's so many examples of how to keep it like that. And the more you got other people watering it down, the worse it's going to get. So what's the best way to deal with anything that's watered down? Not getting what it started out being. You trash it and you go back to the beginning of your blueprint. Boom. And try to keep it as close to what was working. And if it ain't working, then why am I messing with it? Because the paper look good. Like I told y'all last time y'all seen me, I ain't seen too many over my career, and as much as I know history, that you had a whole litter of anything that's doing something. It's very seldom that you had a litter like the one Mayday did. Came out of. It's hard to get the litter that Bebe produced. It's hard to get two champions out of litter. And in Brat and Little Mayday's case, it was only 3 dogs. Two of them dogs became champions. Stone killers. So if you understand that part, you should be able to follow along tonight. I'm going to take you on what would you do today? How would you breed today, twin, if it was you breeding dogs? It's on you, Mo. Hey man, appreciate everybody showing up. I do the name hit thing in the end because I don't have my phone and nothing over here. But I appreciate everybody who showed up tonight. Hey, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that like button. And please subscribe if you haven't already done so.
What up, everybody? I know. You're like, where you been, twin? Man, I've been around, man. I've been around, fellas. I'm still here. Scratching. This ain't one of them 30 minutes. I can tell you that. Bulldog country. Still in there, though. At the Same, been feeling good.
Big shout out to my brother out there. What up, Armin? Yo, Pit Dog. I see you, fam.
Sunday's my birthday, and I figure I'm going on my birthday. I gotta at least go see my fellas and stuff. See my peoples. Guys who know things about eyes, some of you guys might even know what I'm talking about, but I have the thing, parts of the body is starting to shut down a lot more. But now I have this thing in my eye, they call them floaties. It's only in this eye here. And what it is like it's something in your eye because you see it and it's floating around, but you really can't feel it. And it looks like a bunch of stuff like this floating around inside my eye. And it's very aggravating because it keeps capturing my perception because it's not like one little thing moving around. It's like a lot of little things moving around. And the doctor's saying is my retina is starting to separate something about my eye. And hopefully in time, the brain will literally filter what I'm dealing with out, where it won't even be a problem. You know what I mean? I won't. I guess they say the brain will see it and it literally shut out where it won't always be this way. So I can't wait till it gets to that point because I'm always doing this shit. And sometimes it looks like smoke, like like the old creepy death smoke look. It shows up in my, vision, and it's like a little black mass, but it's got little smoke, little things on it. It's just something to get used to. But I have 6 weeks. They'll go back and they'll see if, they say it's part of the retina of my eye starting to separate, which is not a good thing, but hopefully, in 6 weeks they'll be able to tell me that it's going to fix itself or, it's gonna separate. We go from there. But other than that, me being tired a lot, 26, I go in, they're gonna go do another catheterization on me. Make sure there's not something in there that's causing my continuous tiredness. And next thing decide is the pacemaker. But I'm still here. I let them figure that out. You know what I mean? Me personally, my job is to get in the corner and come out. Me, I ain't trying to have none of that shit. I don't want the pacemaker. I don't want none of that shit. So, I live like a bulldog. You continue going until you can't go no more. They said my heart was bad, but I'm still here. I got a birthday coming up Sunday, so I wanted to share this day with y'all. Hey, I wanted to talk about some stuff. Mike was talking about the breedings, and one thing me and my KP was really starting to notice was, he started getting into those out of country dogs. There's always a pattern in his madness, and in that pattern, it makes good points because, one thing about numbers don't lie. Certain places where these dogs got out and good breedings got out there outside the country, well, when everything was going down here, whole lines getting wiped out, competition not big in the numbers, and just a lot happened in that underground world. Okay, that the numbers ain't like they were, but in these other countries who's got these dogs over there, their numbers are like, they're doing what we used to do. You know what I mean? And they're doing it in a more, well, I would say we have the big country. So we do it, we still in a country zone. Okay? In our country zone, there's a lot of us doing something. We're going to have a lot of clashes. You know, that's why a lot of champions lost here, and dogs looking like Eli and the Bulls dog. You start seeing them L's popping up. Because you know when you out there searching for great competition, you can look for it. You'll get it. It's all about the competition anyway. Why you think some of these guys don't know when to stop? You know, if their dog could really talk to them, they'd probably be giving them some advice. To, hey man, it's starting to catch up with me. I ain't rocking Marciano. You know what I'm saying? So in them days, things like that happen. You know what I mean? And this is why a lot of those dogs carry them losses. But the one good thing about them that I see a lot of dogs with losses, and I can respect it because I noticed you find a lot of dogs like Floyd Boudreaux. You find a loss in there and everywhere. And a couple of them. We back. Man. We back.
Yeah, you back.
All right, y'all. Where I leave off at? Where did we dial at, man? Let's see.
About the dogs over there.
Hmm?
About the ones coming back.
Okay, guys. Let's see. Give me a thumbs up if y'all heard me when I was talking about the dogs overseas coming back. So I'm gonna watch the chat right quick so I can see where I don't want to lose y'all. Let me get my phone. Let me get my phone and look it up here. So that's where we at, y'all. Just give me a thumbs up so I can go take off from there.
Have sudden life emergencies left you feeling stuck? At Rise, we're here to offer support for those who are often turned away from traditional credit providers. Take your
Yeah, trying to get the show up. Okay. Huh? Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to get y'all up here. I was gonna open our way up. Okay. Dang, I got my glasses. Just let me know if you got that. Okay, whatever that is. All right, guys. I ain't seen no thumbs up yet. I see all these happy birthday bros. Wait, what's up, y'all? Hey, just shout out. Damn, what's up? Okay. I'm looking at the chats and shit. All right. Hey, I'm
Stay close up.
Mike. I got you, man. I'm trying to slide up over here so I can get it. It'll sit back too. It'll coach me. All right, I ain't got no thumbs. So I'm gonna start over right where I was at. What I was saying was, you know, we used to talk about the dogs and they leave, you know, because there was a lot more active going on in the States. Okay, now it's just the opposite now, you know, where, you know, a lot of things was going on over here, a lot was going on over there. Where the numbers fell here, the numbers grew there. So a lot of those dogs that went over there, now they're starting to be imported back into the United States. And it would just be interesting, you know, that, you know, you always hear we talk about, you know, what's coming back. I just want to sit in and go over some of what I got today just to show y'all, because my nephew, put it like this, back in the day when we first got into dogs, you know, me and Mike would tell you it was three of us. One name was, we called him Benny Choke. He's the one that had the pits while I had the Dobermans. Okay, well, his nephew, you know, he fell into the love life, and he came, and at the time I didn't have anything, but I sent it to the KP. Said, you hook up with the KP, you know, he gonna look at you, you know, if you ain't dedicated, he ain't gonna be bothered with you. So don't go mess with him unless you really know what you want to do, you know. And he fell through, and he mentored him in between, you know, the families, you know. He ended up falling into some good luck, you know, as far as having good dogs. And a lot of them these are imports. And I just wanted to go in and show you my KP and that's now. You know, go into it and show you some of these dogs and how they was leaving and coming back. You know. Remember, we don't have no plug to those. Okay, so, but that nephew, yeah, I got him coming in today. He's gonna sit down and enjoy it with a little time with us. Like I said, he was definitely on the front end of the classroom. And nephew, say something so we can make sure you can hear, everybody can hear you.
And I think Akai is shit though. Coming off of that motherfucker Thriller in Manila.
Okay, we back, Mike. Mike, check one. We back. All right, fellas. We done lost out again. Hope we can stick it in there. because the volume show ain't bouncing over here. Okay, so we all right, nephew. Go ahead and say it. Let me hear your voice right quick to make sure we got a good sound check on you.
Check one, check one.
Okay, there it is. There it is. Hey, while we got you on the line, give us some insight on, from the time that you went to the KP and what you did from there. What brought you into the game outside of Uncle Ben?
Well, what really happened was I moved south in Louisiana, and I met some people down here, some real, real good people for some real strong kennels. And the spark just sparked up, and everything was going good. And I thought about y'all. So I called my Uncle Twin, and I said, Twin, I'd really like to try to start a little breed program or something. So he put me in contact with KP, and then the next thing, everything just started turning into magic.
Okay, that's right. Now, when did you start really studying your breedings? Was it based on your teachings?
Wait, say it again.
On your when you start building on your breeding program, how the KP is. He really emphasizes on just don't be breeding shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay. What were some of the things that you learned or had to understand when it came down to what you wanted, what you was looking for, and how you was going to get it through your breeding program?
Well, basically, what happened was I fell in the. I knew you guys first, and just from conversations, I knew what a good dog looked like, just from the conversation. When I came south, I met up with Boot Camp Click, Pit Pro, Texas Gun Lines, real strong guys down here, and they had the same type of thing in mind as what a good dog was. So when I started talking to KP, he was like, "Oh, I got that," and then he started going through the bloodlines, and telling me what this bloodline should do and what it's known for and what it's famous for. Then I got back to y'all, tried to verify everything. We started talking about some old school Bay Day and all that kind of stuff. And next thing you know, I was right on it. And then a friend of mine, just out of the blue, he said, "Hey man, I got a ship dog, and I'm trying to get rid of it." So when he said, "Hey," I said, "Okay, well let me get it." And then the rest of it just started just falling in place, falling in place, falling in place.
Now, mothership.
Right.
I'm gonna put up mothership's pedigree here for everybody to see it. Now, this is mothership here. Now,
I can't see the pedigree up on the screen yet. Okay, it must be the delay.
Yeah.
Now you know now.
Now you know about the delay.
Yeah, I know about the delay.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
What about mothership?
Okay, now I got mothership's pedigree up here. I'm going to take them for a ride on it and stuff. But I see that Kakai was bred to ship.
Yes.
So that means that breeding was in the country. But I noticed a lot of these dogs are out of the country. These the Russians, the Balkans. I see a combination of a lot of these foreign dogs. How did the dogs get here? I mean, not necessarily like put names on it, but you can see they migrated, and they migrated like more or less like in our day. A lot of match dogs here. You know what I'm saying? I hear. Okay, turn your TV down because I can hear me in the back, and it's causing the delay. No, don't listen to. Cool.
I got you down. You muted.
Okay, now, but I was asking when I see the breeding to mothership, and I got you as the breeder to mothership. So at one point you bred the ship, right? So that's an in the country move, right?
I didn't breed. I didn't own
Yeah.
Kakaya.
Okay. Go ahead.
Somebody else owned Kakaya. I got my breed mothership came down from Kakaya and Ship, and then I got mothership.
Okay.
So I didn't actually do that breeding.
Okay.
I bought a puppy out of that breed.
Okay, so mothership is the breed between Ship and Kakaya.
Yes.
Okay. Was there anything outside of Ship? I'm looking at the Kakaya, and I'm going to go take them back on this and show them the consistency. The first thing I wanted to make sure everybody's seeing was we're dealing with imports. Okay, these are imports. So the first thing that drew my attention to this pedigree when I first saw it was, it looks more like ours in the 90s, the Matchdogs. Right. Not understanding the names, but clearly understanding the colors in the right place. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So
yeah.
So that's just something KP be on. That's something I'm on. We and I see it as the attraction of what you got when you got Kakaya in the ship stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When I go in here, like I'm getting ready to go in here, it's going to be, this is what I be talking about when I be talking about the formula and how the dogs that got exported out are being imported back in with teachings that things that we were doing back then that made our dogs great. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing these dogs coming back, with that same old concept and formula of matchdogs produce matchdogs. So I'm going to start with Kakaya. I'm going to first take y'all guys, everybody who's watching the show, I'm going to take y'all back to where y'all can understand. But on the way back, as we go back, I want you to pay a little attention to just the color, because this one's not mixed up with all different crazy stuff. So you should be able to follow along. That makes me go through it a lot quicker. Not going this in particular dogs, because you're not going to know none of these dogs. But what we're going to do, we're going to follow it back. But what are we following? We're following a whole lot of match dogs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm going to start down here at the bottom. Then I come back up to the Thriller Manila, because, you like that. You're always talking about that Thriller Manila. But I'm going to start with the female down here at the bottom. I'm going to take them back to where when they can look at it and say, okay, I know where it's coming from now. I'm start up here with teams Bravo. That's grand champion. Okay, you see, definitely exportation. But remember, the whole purpose is I'm going to follow him all the way back until y'all can tell me. Now, I'm going to get to this point about right in here. Okay, chat room, as I go back, give me an idea where y'all think this is going to end up taking me. Anybody? I want somebody, come on, y'all, take some guesses. We already know there's black dogs here. But, come on, y'all, tell me where y'all think this is going to end up. What got exported out? So what do you think this stuff is going to end up coming back to? Let me give y'all a few seconds before I go diving in and continue taking you on. Now, this is just the bottom side of the female. Okay, I'm watching the chat. I see some people putting in. That's good. Okay, Chico Nicholas said Mayday. Brandon Starr said probably Mayday or Town Garner. Pit Dog said Eli. Longwood, he said Burning. Okay, let's go. Let's see. Nephew, I can hear me I can hear me talking in your phone.
No, I got everything off over here.
I can sure hear you. I can hear it.
Maybe the AC unit, but everything else is off.
Okay. No. Okay, we're doing the top part, we're doing the male, so we're gonna work our way back down to the bottom. But as you just go down through here, you just follow along. You're starting to notice we're seeing a lot of that bottom up here in the top, like here in this area here. You're starting to see it coming down through here. You're starting to see that there's a connection there, right? So we by the time we get back there, we'll start noticing it. Okay, first dog we noticed up in here so far was definitely Can's Bruiser.
Nephew, I still hear him talking in the background.
Yeah, me too.
I can hear you now. You went out. What you say now?
I can still hear him talking in the background.
Yeah, I hear it coming through your phone.
It ain't in my phone. I done turned the fan off and everything. Got to be something else.
Okay.
Is the show, so is the volume down on the show? Because the feedback is my voice. I can hear my voice coming back to me. I just want to make sure, you're listening to me and not the live.
No, I'm not listening to you. I got the mute. It's all the way on mute.
Okay.
It's zero. It's on mute. It ain't coming from over here. You must got something disconnected or a weak wire or something. It ain't over here.
Okay. All right. Where was I at? Okay, first thing we see here was, let me go back here. Okay, the first one we start noticing is right here, the Can's Bruiser.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got Tan's Bruiser right there. That's the first American dog we noticed. We'll start with him. So now we got yellow and Jeep, yellow Jeep, red, yellow cross. And don't forget down here, Miss Tramp, Mikhail Sassy, that's Grand Champion Buck. Okay? And you know what I mean? So that's same down to the same shit you do see in Mayday, except we got Buck over here. That's Mikhail Sassy. You'll find Mikhail Sassy in Going Hard's Yellow Apache as well. Okay? So we got that part. Let's see how they was breeding this bottom end. Okay, next one we start seeing up here is the Jeep stuff. Miller's Red, okay, let's go there. It's gonna be some red boy. As you see what I was saying, there's Jeep, Red Boy, and Jocko. Chris's Pit, that's double bred Jocko crossed in there. You see Red Man and Charlotte. Red Man and Charlotte. You see there's a chemistry already. There's a formula just in that right there. And we're still dealing with Bulldogs. Lola. What do we start seeing now? I remember what at top. Now we had Jocko, we had Yellow, Jeep, and Red Boy. Now we down here around the bottom. Now we running across Boomerang, Booger, Snake Man's Ernie. You know, when we get around here around Snake Man, we're gonna definitely be heading to some damn low posse Buster because old Ernie was off of Ernie Buck. Ernie Buck was that cross with low posse's Buster. Remember the little female we had, Solo? That was Benny's dog. Her name was Solo. She was off of low posse's Buster and low posse's Queen. And then we see now we got low posse's Buster coming off of Arts Missy. Everybody don't forget Arts Missy and Boomerang were litter mates. And see, we heavy bred low posse's Buster. So this bottom is heavy low posse's Buster with what we sitting there on the top. But if you notice, look how tight this is. When we click down here on the female, look what we're looking at. We still got a whole lot of Arts Missy. Why do we got a whole lot of Arts Missy? Because we got Wood Snooty. This top is down to like the bottom. Still, you see how everything is just staying tight? Everything's staying tight. Now they're crossing the Arts Missy with the Boomerang. Y'all paying attention to these moves? See, this is what when we say when it comes down to the KP and what we be paying attention to, we would never want to go searching this far if we wasn't liking what we were seeing up front, because we know to be continuing, to have a continuance, we want to see a pattern of continuous. I want to be able to come back and follow the thing all the way back and understand what made me go back this far to go look. So we understand that bottom is a whole lot of Arts Missy going through low posse's Buster, Wood, Snooty. Now we got Boomerang crossed. Knowing when we get back up there towards the top, we still sitting up there with Jeep, which is still Bully Son, Red Boy, and just a pinch of Jocko. So now we down in the American section. We down here in the American section. Actually, look at the dogs. Now this is probably what got imported out, y'all. Exported out. This is the stuff that probably got exported out. The country boys. They probably got a hold of this stuff because it's their breedings. It's already exported and they're already trying to use it. Now that's the top and the bottom. Remember, y'all, I just came off just the top. So we know what the bottom is going to be looking like. It's the same as the top. Different strokes. But we're still dealing with ugly. 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 You see that? When we say ugly, we're dealing with, let me just click on it. That's ugly. All that ugly, and look what this one ugly look like. That's Boomerang and Arts Missy to the Maximus. Smart breeding. And I think what was really smart about it is when you look at it, now we're putting it back together. That's all that bottom, and look at the top. Look, we're still dealing with the same old thing, but look, we got this champion over here, aka Champion Tom, won in the U.S. and then was sold in Yugoslavia. No, that's the same name. You know, it got that dick in it, but it ain't him. Okay? We're still dealing with Boomerang. Now we got the whole bottom side of Arts Missy. Remember all this? Now that's just the bottom, guys. Now we know what we dealing with when it comes to this dog right here, this Sergey. Went for a draw. She was what did it say? She went to a draw of 2 hours and 35 minutes. You know, and that's a plus because we know why they wasn't quitting. We know that why they wasn't quitting. We know why he wasn't quitting. And they definitely had the genetic strain. You know, the ROM part of it speaks for itself. You know, I ain't breaking it down because if they produced or not, we know that they produced this dog here that seemed to be like he was producing. But where did we get the genetic strain from? We got Red Boy, we got Jeep, you know, you got Jocko, but the Bulldog, a lot of those Bulldogs, you got to look at this black stuff that was going on down here with Snooty and them. You know, I always said a genetic trait is ROM. ROM is, to me, is a genetic trait in itself. Like I'll say, like a stifle dog. You know, you got a line of dogs that just keep producing stifle, getting in the stifle, or a chest dog. See, that's a trait. Well, to me, a ROM, but a production trait, a ROM trait is very much to me a trait. That means it's a trait of production. It has that ability to take, like in our line of dogs, you know, if we didn't have all those ROMs up close into those dogs, I would never believe that back stifle trait that went on throughout our dogs did not get picked up by that reproductive ROM trait. That trait to reproduce. You know, and you just got to speak on it. You had to be lucky if you was able to get that back in and let it get picked up by a genetic registered merit production trait that could move down through those pedigrees like it did and didn't lose anything. You know what I'm saying? They didn't come out like a lot of Mayday dogs. They came out with, you know, that Grand Champion Ace style. You know, and you got enough registered merits in all these dogs that's in those pedigrees, man. It has to be a genetic trait. You know, that production is a trait in itself. And as we keep moving forward, and remember, y'all, I came way back here. Remember, I jumped off of Zika, right? Remember when we went to looking? Remember, we didn't go down here. Let's go down there. See what happens when we go down there? Look what we looking at. Same shit. Now just imagine, y'all, we know how that top is looking. This stuff is going to take us to the same place. We ain't got to go too far. We're back over here with ugly. You see what I'm saying? Now, they're using this as the out on that. And we're taking that all the way back to Hammond's Rufus. Spike is the major contributor outside of that, but look where it takes us. You see that?
Yeah.
See, these ain't people just throwing shit together. Because you keep seeing these winners. You seeing winners being put on top of it, and then you turn around and you see him putting this top winner. You know, I always say, look at the breeder. It's the breeder. It's what the breeder does. And as I go back, y'all, I'm remember now I'm coming back towards the front. Remember, we've been to the back. Now we're going back up towards the front. Remember, we had all this yellow, red boy Jeep. Now, before I left, I went in here. Now I'm going to go here. See, we don't know none of these names, but one thing we're still seeing. We're still seeing blotches. You know what I'm saying? We're still seeing blotches. 1 and 3 hours and 41 minutes. Look at there. A Woods Molly B breed. Against a Woods Molly B breed crossed with some yellow stuff. But if we don't understand nothing else in here, we understand this here. We know we seen this in that pedigree that we left on the top side. Now remember, we was on the bottom. We was on the top the last time. Now we're on the bottom. And you see the familiarity is right here. If you notice, this down here, and this up here is automatically, we know it's a line breeding. What do we see? You already see where we're headed. They go black buck. You already know, see, we just seen this already. Man, we seen this on the top half. So we're putting it together. The top half and the bottom half. And we're up in generations now. Still keeping it consistent. And they're still doing it with match dogs. Same thing. So they breeding like we was breeding. Okay, that was all this top half stuff. Now you got the bruiser stuff, top and bottom. Remember, now we on the bottom of the female. Remember all the stuff that we see in the top. Now we're messing around the bottom of this pedigree, the bottom side of it. And you see where it takes us, back into the same stuff. See, this is a nice, tight, good breeding, smart breeding that they kept consistent. And they kept it consistent with working dogs. So it makes it easier when you got the color part right, because now y'all guys can appreciate. When you look on blue, you ain't got to try to figure it out. It's already right there. You're either gonna be a registered married POR or something. Coming all the way back up to the front. Remember when we got here? And we didn't never go down here. Remember, we started right here with him. So let's go take a run and go check this one out right quick. We see the bruiser stuff showing up right off the back. 53, 130, 110. We see the bruiser stuff. Let's go nab at this before we go, because I'm interested in this down here. But since we got the bruiser stuff, I guess I'll take a shot and we'll put it out there again and see if anybody right. Okay, now, where do you think we're going with this one? Before we go any further, what do you think this is going to take us to? I'm going to check the chat and see what y'all say. Okay, Viking Royal family said Mayday. Why you think that, man? Because he look like a Mayday dog, don't he? Characteristics? With just a little Mayday, and it makes such a world of difference. Got Champion Twister's little mate brother right there, old Jasper. We know we got yellow all up in here because we got Tan's Bruiser. Then we got Chinaman Rocky Cross. I just pull him up and then we'll jump back out. He ain't got no Mayday in him, but shit, look how he look. Look like he gonna have some Jeep. Understand the breedings. Now keep in mind, we still dealing with the same dogs that we started off with. We just going back in here and show you what got reported out and what they were sending us back. Paying attention to what they were sending us back. Close attention. A lot of work.
Where you going?
Am I froze again?
Okay, I hear you.
Okay, yeah. I'm just giving them a chance to study where I'm going. Okay, now where do y'all think this is gonna take us? We see the Mayday, we see the Patrick stuff, we see X-Man, the Hollandworth stuff. That's just a good cross, the Eli cross with the Mayday. Which we know, Mayday has that little part of him in him. Got that Eli cross in him. So, they even trying to cover that area. You know what I'm saying? And it's the way they have it. Who in the States is breeding the X-Men stuff to some Mayday stuff? Who in the United States is doing that? Who making them kind of moves right there? Damn good. That's a damn good breed. There's a formula there. There's been a whole lot of formulas, and all this is still in one pedigree, y'all. I just want to know if anybody got an idea. Okay, let's see. What do you see now? We see the Chinaman a whole different way. We see Scallywag. We seeing Buck down there with Bonbon. No, this is going to bring us the Spike stuff, Eli stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, y'all see Fat Bill in there? Yeah, I got it right down in here. Chinaman, Rascal, look at that, Zachariah, Scallywag. You know where this is going. Let's check out Cracker. What do you see? Well, I see Alligator's brother here. Yeah, we seen that earlier. Yeah. Still smart breedings, guys. Y'all see this? Now you can best believe this was going on right here in the States. You'd be hard to find some stuff crossed up like this here in the States anymore. It's gone. But it's very well put together. Very well put together the way this is put together. I'm going to take this all the way back out. All the way back out. This is where I started at. That was just on the female. What we just got done looking at, y'all, this is the female. This is the mother. To Kakaya. That's her bottom. Before I get away from her, I just want y'all to just keep in mind, look at all this. With all that was going on where we just come from, look what we getting back. Now here's your favorite nephew. Here's your favorite, the Thriller in Manila. He won one in the States. Now let's go break him down. We're going to start off with the top. Yep. And y'all see that? Y'all see that right there? Just want to make sure y'all see that. Uh-huh. Okay, I'll give you another picture of that there. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, he did. Hey, you're right. They had all the right everything in it, though, my friend. Trevor, I agree. I totally agree with you. But you know, just keep in mind, look how it was being put together. You know, what we're seeing performance being put together. Not, if you're putting performance together, and then when you look at the performance and then go into the performance and look at the papers, then you know why you're getting the performance. The key and the trick of it is being able to maintain it and continue producing it. Remember, that's just one part of the bottom, the whole bottom of that dog with all that stuff in it. We're just now touching the top. So now we up on here on the top side, and we're gonna start reaching back and let's see where it takes us. Nice looking dog, and a lot of these dogs is black. They were having some good success, but at a point, when you start looking, you can almost see like, okay, we're gonna see some Gardner stuff here in a minute, and you can just about tell. See what I'm saying? But you see what I'm clicking on? I'm clicking on the match dogs. Kuwait dog. Look how it's bred. Now you gotta keep in mind, y'all. This is the top side of what we just got done looking at on the bottom side of the other pedigree. Look at the handsome dog, bony macaroni, double bred. Crossed with some Jeep and Rascal, double honey bunch. Champion author, 5-time winner, 1-time game loser. Well, it's no doubt that you see how the dog is bred. I mean, this is what I call formula breeding. Remember, y'all, I was just hitting the winners. I didn't even go down here. Let's see how he bred him to her. Remember, I always say, speaking of the breeder, let's go see what the breeder was on. We ain't got much for a bottom, but we sure got a heck of a look here. Nigga Bruiser's sister. Right. You know, that's why Garner sell a lot of dogs. You know what I'm saying? I told you they're going all over the seas and everywhere. But this one's a good breeding here. You know, that's more snooty right there. That they hey nephew.
Yeah, I'm right here.
That Garner's Rose, right?
Uh-huh.
This is a little mate. This is look. Let me show you something. Look at the sibling. This sibling. We have Bruiser was the sibling off this litter here. You know your Uncle Benny's first dog. His name was Bruiser. He was off of Smeller and Honey Bay. I'll pull it up later before I get out because I got it on my pedigrees. But nice bred dog, nice breeding. Keeping in mind, y'all, we still. Let me go back to where we started. That was his top. Now here's his bottom. Reduced champion, Mr. K. Just like them Eli, just like them dogs. You know, looking like that Boudreaux stuff. Got a whole lot of, got win everybody a game loser. It gives you an idea of what they was doing. I mean, it's no different than what we were seeing out of Floyd Boudreaux and the Boyles dogs. You know, it happens. There's no need for me to go here, though, right? Y'all know this one. Eli Moore, Eli Red Boy. I'll just go to Sunshine so we can open her up. I want to make sure y'all saw that right there. And I think the major piece to these crosses that I like is that ROM reproductive factor that I be talking about. We ain't got a whole lot of black. The further we get up to the front, remember, I didn't even click down here. That was just up here. We click down here, and this is what we got. Yeah. Again, there go Yellow Junior. Right there. Buster Brown. You see this cross right here? This is definitely buck. Definitely buck stuff. Yellow cross with buck, got the Eli up in there in the right places. Here we go back over the Bruiser and the Tramp stuff. Scooter Red. And to me, this is like a Stone City breeding with Yellow Buck and Miss Nico. You know, the stuff that created Little Buck and Sir Kell and them. Got all the right buck, got all the right yellow, got all the right Jeep and Eli. And it's showing you that it has some producing power. Because they remember how they bred this dog. I'm going to go back. They took her and bred it to this stuff right here. And again, we go back to this stuff right here. We got Toro, which is yellow, Red Boy and Jocko. And then you got the Bronson stuff right here. There's my Zebo. It don't hurt to have some Zebo sniffing around there in your life. And Candy too. Kingfish Cross. This dog right here was another bad dog. Pro was another nice dog. These are good dogs. Like you say, when we go back and we put it all back together, let me take it all the way back to where we just put it all back together, and I'm going to show you where we started at. We started with mothership. We didn't even go into the ship dog. And I'm going to tell you why. I mean, because a lot of us, we already out here in the game, we already know about the ship dog. My thing was, what I seen that the smartest move to do when you read to the ship dog is you bought some producing power here. Genetic wise, there's production there. And she's right off a ship. She got some offsprings too, y'all. There's a litter right there. Now, look, the mama black. The daddy was black. Yeah. On the ground. Letting you know. Get the email address, send it over. Now y'all see that this is the whole pedigree. Then when we go to this right here, we doing what they was doing over there. No need to dive into that. You already know what it look like right there. We ain't got to go way out there and go searching what's in the back of that because it's all right here in front. Y'all get that email while y'all can. Anybody interested in those pups, just send me an email. That's what you call throwback. Because this right here, all this starts showing up. Not only you going to have a heavy mayday up here, you got Lucan and Barracuda, you got Stone City and Mayday, you got the Walkmall gear. No, it ain't none of that, Black. Factors. You got double brand Lucan right here. You got more Stone City Mayday right here. See, this is what it looks like when you got, well, I have to say the KP and the Going Hard family, you know what I'm saying, making moves. It didn't even have to consist of Mayday. It's just the way you breathe. And what are you looking for? Nephew done a very good job. And can't tell me two black dogs can't throw some throwback. These dogs is bred very well. And they give me, you know, what we look for when we start talking about formulas. I had to take you all the way back to show you this was definitely not a paper chase, but it was a formula that we recognize production, progress, consistency, and results. Good job, nephew.
Right on, right on.
Hold on, I got another one. I got to pull up one more breeding off of this stuff. I got to pull these up. I just had to dab into these. These ain't puppies no more. These a little bit older here. These a little bit older here. But y'all know the bottom. Now let me give y'all a taste of this top. Okay, y'all want me to start up here? I'll start up here. Good dog right here. We just lost him a couple months ago. Good producer. First, let me show you his siblings. There's Gloria. There's a champion boss lady. Sierra, this is some good dogs. Champion boss lady, she beat that Lala dog. Smashed her in 52. Again, there you go to see that thank you. See the shout outs.
Right.
Back on that Earl Tudor shit. The modern day Earl Tudor at work. That's what we call it. The modern day Earl Tudor. People talk that shit, but when you actually seeing what we seeing, we showing y'all. We literally showing y'all secrets. Yeah, you see Zelda, they go little bull. There go that work. Yeah, this right here, that's a going hard dog right there. See the breeder. Just want to point that out. In the future, y'all, this stuff right here is going to be incorporated into that stuff that's down there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me open it up a little bit more for y'all, so y'all can get a true understanding what's really back here. Who said we don't mess with Garner dogs? Okay? We mess with whatever's going to win. And I don't think they was really, I think they really missed. Man, I got these dogs right here pulled up. I remember we got those puppies. Oh, yellow dog. Off the yellow dog. And then we got them puppies that's bred off of him. But bred like him. I'm gonna pull him up again. Little bull. Remember, look, that cross right there. I didn't do this one here, or did I? Spotty girl now. I didn't. Okay, I just did the top. Okay, here's the bottom to the older puppies. Again, these were dogs that were out of the country. So more of that out of the country stuff coming back in, but you notice, look how close it is. We've seen all this before. There go the Tans bruiser stuff again. Stuff going back into some Red Boy Jeep stuff. You know, still see them game losers. See them game loser, draw, all winners, game loser, champion game loser, champion game loser. One thing about them when they're losing though, it's to me, I always say this when it comes to dealing with these dogs, I tell y'all, what I tell y'all, I said, if you're looking for a Boudreaux on them, what do you see? You know, it's not uncommon to see game losers. Look, again, Obo, game loser. What's my point? You already know what my point is. I got a whole bunch of winning and I got a whole bunch of game losers. But I don't got a whole bunch of quitting. And out of that, I'm still getting production. At least I'm feeding something worthy to feed. Another 3-time winner, game loser. Lost game in 2 hours and 11 minutes. Now, when I take all this shit and run over there in that Mayday shit, you see, it's all there. The moves and the makings are all there. Just all in the results. We're going for results. Another female ain't been bred. Now you see that stuff. We sitting over there with that stuff sitting over here with Mr. Mayday sitting there. Now, where do you think we're gonna be going with that? No, we got Yellow Dog. No, we got Buddy Love. Okay? Just wanted to point these things out. Buddy Love. Let me get my boy back up here. Where he at? I gotta go get Yellow Dog now. Where he go? Oh, there you go. I see you. Top studs right there. Them the studders. Right there. That's right. Yeah. Ozetta will be going to Yellow Dog. We'll pick up Yellow Dog and then come back around and pick up her going back into Buddy Love. Sound like a plan, don't it, nephew?
It sound like a plan. It sound like a plan.
But this is thanks for stopping by, nephew. I really appreciate what you did. Let me go ahead and put them up there, man, and show these people what's really going on in the back street. You know what I'm saying? You know, everybody was asking, you know,
breaking up, I can't hear you.
Everybody was asking about, you know, going hard, what y'all doing, and we ain't doing that. It's what the future is doing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah.
You know, and these were good moves, smart moves. You know, very well orchestrated moves, very well. And you know, thanks to T.O., he's a plug in all our story, ain't he?
Say it again.
I said T.O.'s a plug. RKP is a plug in all our stories, ain't he?
Yeah, he's getting the plug. He's still relevant. He's definitely relevant.
Always will be. You got that for real. Ain't that the truth? Yeah. But like I was telling everybody, you know, take that email down. Take the email down, and I can help you from there. Let me take you back to the pups. That's that. Send your information if you need a contact. And for the children, because these are the only ones that will be available, and not all of them. So you got to nab and grab while you can. Take the names down. You want to go rewind on your video, and you actually want to get a hold of the pedigree and pick it up. You know, just rewind and you know, and just take it off that way right there. There's the mother and the father where you can pull it up and do your own research and look into it. You know, this is definitely something that what we call the way, you know, I would have to say the next generation got a whole new generation, but the game plan and the philosophy and the way we look at things to be done has not changed. Can't rewrite history. So, you know, I hope that took care of a whole lot of that. You know, I hope y'all don't think we was capping. I really don't hope they thought we was capping. Nephew, we don't cap, do we? Do we cap, nephew? We don't cap. We ain't capping.
You keep breaking up.
Okay. I know I keep hearing like me coming to his phone. It's like he's listening to the TV.
We hear it.
Because we can hear it.
Don't worry about it. He'll play it back and hear it. You tell me what he wasn't doing, but
yeah, you play it back. You're gonna hear us talking in your phone. But yeah, man. Hey, nephew, I really appreciate you stopping in and giving me the opportunity to pull these up, man. You know what I mean?
Okay. Hey, I appreciate y'all putting me out there, man.
Oh, that's all good, man.
Once again, hey, big shout out to KP, and thanks for keeping Benny Choke alive. And hey, big up to y'all for putting it all together, making us all, you know, look good and stay relevant.
You know that, man. You always know that, fam. You know that, man. Hey,
I'm about to sign off. I got to get out of here.
Okay, fam. Thank you for coming through, man. Hey, everybody, y'all know what's up at the end of the show, man. We're going to give my nephew a big shout out, man.
Okay.
You know,
well, just hit you up. You got it.
Okay, when you come back, when you go back in there to look at it, man, just look at the end of the show and catch the love for us, all right?
I got you.
All right, fam. Thank you, man. Yeah, love, honey. One. Yeah, very good. Love, honey. One. Hey guys, you know y'all can go on Pairs online and kind of pick that up there. And I just wanted to point something out. I didn't really, I think I can get the picture. I want to get a picture of this litter and blow it up so y'all can see these puppies and show you how much characteristics really show in certain dogs. Because, you know, you got two black dogs and yet you see those buckskin puppies in there. You're gonna see Mayday traits. And when I was talking about how traits, you just can't get around them. You just can't get around them. Some traits are so strong, you should be able to know a trait. When you're dealing with a certain line of dogs, they're just like a buck dog or Mayday dog, they carry certain things in them, and it's just real powerful. That's all. Just pointing out them real powerful traits. You know, and definitely KP was one of those, you know, that you just gotta understand. You know, we be doing this so long, and we're like, if we could be, what's my name? Tesla dude, Elon Musk. You see, you know, he goofy and wild, but he's smart as hell. You know, I would be the goofy one and the smart one, and my KP would be more the serious one, you know. And I mean, when I say serious, he's walking around with the glasses and he's breaking things down and he's really digging in. And what does he look for as he's digging in? You know, the biggest thing that makes it is internationally known. There y'all go. A closer look. See them little toesies? You can see they made this stuff in them. And they buck wild. Nice little litter there. Nice litter. Okay, guys, I'd be ready to take on any questions or anything else like that tonight, man. I just wanted to bring in with everybody wondering, you know, what's life been going on, what's going on out there, you know. Now you can't say that you cannot find some going hard stuff. You know, it always don't have to be what y'all think it is, but just know, you know, there's going hard dogs still out there.
Hey, did Chico Nicholas, he said, let him know when you got it.
Yeah, tell him I got it. Hey, Chico, yeah. Yeah, somebody else, too. I got to show some love, too. Hold on. Yeah, hold on, guys. I'm trying to get it up. Now, guys, it'd be very seldom that, you know, you ever see us, you know, put out what's going on. You know what I mean? And I would like to let you guys know, while y'all doing all that breeding around there doing these things, you know, get a chance, go back down through these videos and watch that video again. Okay? I mean, really take a good look at that video, because, you know, I don't have to write shit on the wall. You know what I mean? And I don't want nobody to take it the wrong way. You know, if you got it the right way, then you know the way. So I definitely want you guys to go pay attention and see that we don't, you know, breeding papers is definitely not the lifestyle. Yeah, Chico Nicholas and I know where to go to check. Chico Nicholas and somebody else. I'm gonna find you, buddy. I need to shout out to you. Now bear with me, come get it. Chico Nicholas. Yep. Chico Nicholas and David Morris, my man. I should have been able to say your name without even having to go looking, Mr. Morris. You know, me personally, can you send me your email again? You know, it's so far down there amongst a whole bunch of email, Mr. Morris. Can I get your email again? We having these puppies coming around now, and it's like, you know, I got something better yet for your weight, brother. If you don't mind, send your email. But yeah, we still got other breedings, gentlemen. There's still, like I said, you see the Zelda. Zelda's going to be going to Yellow Dog. Zelda's going to be going to Buddy Love. You know, we got other lines, other breedings coming up. We got Spice. You know, Spice might be going to Ruger. I'll pull up Ruger so y'all can see who Ruger is. He's with the Casanova breeding. I think we taking Storm. I think Storm is going to Yellow Dog. Yeah. Let me see if we got that up in there somewhere. Which one? Here's one that's coming up, fellas, on the next heat. It's just not going to be Storm. Storm is going down to Yellow. This one, she's going. Her little May sister's the same breeding, just the different dogs. Her sister Spice is going to be going to Casanova, and Storm is going to be going to Yellow Dog. But this is how they bred. This is how Storm and them is bred. I know you've seen these pedigrees before, but for those who didn't, I'm going to remind you. You know, this is Michael Myers. You know the breakdown. For those who don't, here you go. Yeah, so have a lot of Mayday there. A lot of Mayday cross. Winky, this is good. She's got a touch of all that Bolio stuff. Got a little touch of the pad. Got pads. Got 357. Got all the right ones. All the right stuff. And that's just the Michael Myers part of it. You know, Michael Myers, you know, Hogan. She was the key factor. This nice dog right here. This one here, it ain't done with the Mayday yet. More Mayday. Yellow green bean is heavy. Yellow man. If you notice, you're looking at, and that was just the top side of it. So with double bred green bean. So what you see here is going to be right here. Queenie. There's the change. White air brings those murder us. It brings those very rough ones. You know, when you go grabbing this stuff right here and you putting it in there right, boy, you don't understand. It gets real rough. Let me just show you how rough. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Thumper. Remember, I just showed y'all the bottom. You know, this is like, you know, this is what you do when you're trying to take a Jocko cross and pass it on to a yellow. Okay? Do you call it a major factor? No, you don't call it a major factor. You call it the right factor. Because this would be our Jocko to the red boy stuff. Yeah, we're putting a whole bunch of that tight bread into that Mayday Stone City cross. And as you can tell in our breedings, you know, and then I go down here. We ain't had enough. We still got more. Yeah, we still got more. We got even more Mayday. The way we look at dogs, fellas, and the way we analyze the crosses to get the results. And the only way you get the results is you got to know how to make the crosses. Double bred, you notice everything, a lot of stuff is constantly double bred this, double bred that. You notice how we keep taking the good stuff and stacking it on top of each other. You start bumping into it all over the place. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying, y'all? You just keep running in there. You know, they go out of the country and then they end up coming back. Just wanted to show you what I'm talking about. You don't see it until you go looking. And then you notice it's all in the back. Now, that's based on what I just showed y'all tonight, and y'all go back and y'all be like, damn, man, you go pay attention to what them dudes showed us tonight. Man, did you see that shit? Because that's what I would expect y'all to do. Because if you study what I showed you, you know what I did, what they've done or we've done was set up till we can bring all those dogs that we having, and they all are interchangeable, whatever works the best. You know, called building stages, building. Just think about what you saw today. Really, if you had to go back and really take a little closer look, it would be very educational. Because people really don't understand how we made our breedings back then, and you really thought we lost some shit. Put that on your shows. Go in there and grab that shit and put on your shows and think we sitting right here capping. Walk around here like this on your ass. Yeah. No, this kid, man. Y'all know. You know, but this sitting it out there for you guys, man. It's a good learning tool. Don't forget, you know, always remember the disclaimer. Everything's fictional. We don't believe in anything because we're not doing anything. You know what I'm saying? Stay on that route. With all those of you having any doubt, don't show them nothing. You know what I'm saying? Stay fresh, stay clear. Anybody got any questions? I really hope you guys will sit back and do your studying, you know, because I really want you guys to get it. While y'all trying so quick to throw us away, you know, we got a very good lesson to teach these guys out here to think, you know, that, hey, you know, they the ones be capping because they ain't trying to sell y'all good dogs. They just trying to sell y'all dogs. You know what I'm saying? They want, you know, I ain't trying to get you to buy nothing, to do nothing illegal. I ain't really even trying to sell a dog. You know, people who want something special will go out their way to get what they want. You know, I ain't gotta sell it to you. You know how if you want it, you know what it takes to get it. You know what I mean? So just know that, hey, you see what's around. You see what's around. And that's a good thing, fellas. Just wanted to get y'all to see that just so y'all can really get woof of it. You know what I mean? Call different levels to this stuff. Shout out to Fat Bill. Shout out to Mau. Hey, big shout out to my big brother Mau. You know, he called to check on me today. You know, he's always coming through. He plays such a big part in guys and me lasting this damn long. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know, now I need a playbook because everybody trying to call me on the playbook when, you know, I got the playbook from him. I just didn't get the book. So for all the guys that got all the questions, you know, all of us ain't healthy, and, you know, people are looking at me because, you know, for me to be sick, I still don't look like I'm sick. Well, thanks to Mau. You know, thanks for my sister-in-law. Thanks for my brother. You know, I hate when I can't come and do the show. You know, but I don't want to never feel like I'm a sick dog in the corner. You know, when you start being sick in the corner, scratching, you know, niggas start putting their money in their back pocket. You know what I'm saying? You know, but I'd rather you guys not see me than to see me here and not being happy being here. You know what I mean? If I'm not feeling good, I can't be happy and I can't do the show like I want to do the show. I can't talk and piss off people, you know what I'm saying, when I don't feel good. I want to be able to talk shit when I'm feeling good. So they don't blame it on me being sick. You know, it is what it is.
I want to give a big shout out to the chat and everybody out there on the back street. Big shout out to my main man, Bloodthirst #1, aka Have a 360 in the house. Appreciate the love, fam.
Big shout out to you too, Army. What's up, baby?
Big shout out to May Mayori Nagasaki. Appreciate the love, fam. Big shout out to my man, Mr. John Dembry. I see you, fam. The one and only Chico Nicholas showing the love. Appreciate the donation, man. Keep doing what you're doing, fam. Big shout out to Unleashed in the house. Appreciate the love, fam. Big shout out to the Burn Dog. I see you, fam. Big shout out to the Rabbit Man. I see you, fam. RBG Lone Wolf in the house.
What up, fam? RBG.
Big shout out to the one and only The Mad Doctor. I see you, fam.
Johnny Rockets. What's up, baby?
Big shout out to Double M Decibel. What up, fam? Bite down and shake that like button. Y'all heard it, man.
I got you, Johnny. Yes, I'm going to smoke that fire. Yes, sir. I'm going to drink a little bit of that drink. But I'm going to eat all that cake. Yes, you're right. Yes, you're all right. I want to gain weight.
Again, big shout out to my man, the Rabbit Man. Big shout out to Lil Quentin. I see you, fam. Big shout out to Cosmin Cal TV representing the Shark Tank tonight. What up, fam?
Hey, Marcus, I see what you was telling. I see that, Marcus. When you see Mr. Key go. Yes, sir. And that's how most of them lose, though. That's how most of them do lose, my man, back there in the day, Marquise. You know, that when they do lose, you know, that's the name of the game. Back then, that's the name of the game. Ain't nothing wrong with going out there, man, because, you know, it's all about the competing anyway. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can go out and win 3, but it's hard as hell to win 5. And especially if you running around out there in that fast lane, you know what I'm saying? You like to pick up any damn body. You know what I'm saying? Fast lane, you expect to lose. Ain't nobody running around here undefeated. Never have been that. Ain't no champion out there that you say you couldn't whoop that didn't try to get whooped. You know what I'm saying? So respect those that lasted as long as they did. Shit, Robert T did. All them champions knocked all their asses off, but turned right around and quit on Duke. No, didn't even go an hour. So, you know, don't look at a dog because they lost. You know, look at all them Eli dogs that produced all them great dogs that didn't quit. You know, some of them wasn't even game losers. Some of them was getting bred and quitting. You know what I mean? And they still produced. It just, you know, it's all in who you choose. So Red Ace quit on Tommy Boy, all the excuses in the world. But shit, Red Ace is the key factor to the going hard line of dogs. The most dangerous part of the dogs, her ability. There was nothing in common about losing, you know what I'm saying? The thing is, can you move the line forward, and losing is not the major factor why you're continuing to make the breedings. You know, there's dogs that's losing, but what's the important factor why they're still making the crosses? Because they're losing, but they're still winning more than they're losing. And it's not nothing wrong with losing a game. Me, I just feel like I need more ability. I don't want to down this game, this shit. I need some kick, punch. Me, I in favor of you know, because them dogs never, you know, when you doing, in my time, you know, them game losses would be game at the house. You know, we wouldn't even get a chance to check that game that's out there because it wouldn't make it through the yard. Because all the killers, they meet the game ones, and the game ones meet the killers. You know, okay, let's see what happened. Best one we going with. Most of the time, no game loser, he ain't got to worry about going out there losing because he gonna lose right there on the yard to them killers. You know what I'm saying? And believe me, you make it through a yard with a game dog that can go out here and whip everybody else before he take a loss to a game, a rough ass dog. You believe me, then you best believe the dog that put him down was a badass dog that you need to be worried about. You know, that's how that was. You know, everybody don't make the team, but like I used to say, there's a lot of dogs that people will tell you the twin did not do based on the dogs that they was putting them on. They didn't really give them a chance because the dogs that they was putting them on was the great dogs. You know, not saying that those dogs couldn't win. Well, why do you do that, twin? Because if you meant to win, then you take the best and win. I don't need that you know, that maybe shit because I'm not gonna breed it if it ain't gonna give it to me. Give me the ones that's working, then I'll come back and always have those game ones because game ones is a major factor. But when it comes down to what we feel that it takes for us to win, we going on the trace that's gonna get us, you know, where the game is not gonna be enough. You know, you game, but you ain't got enough ability to be game. You know, that's not gonna work for me. You know, you put the killers on him, and then we're going to find out how game his ass is, but you better have some kind of get back to keep this killer from killing him, or he's going to not make the team. That's just how it works, you know? And you're not doing nothing but back then, but you were making a better yard. You're making better dogs. You have to find something to make better dogs with, and what's the best way on grading what you're doing. I'm not going to wait 2 damn years. I'm going to understand what I'm doing before I even make the moves. We built this shit by doing homework. We do things that most of you guys don't do. We sit back as retired guys, but we like mentors, you know what I'm saying? And in the same instance, you know, don't never count the GHK out because the GHK got, you know, there's a history, there's a legacy there. You know, and let that be all I can say about that part of it, you know.
Let me give a big shout out to Talk of the City Kennels. I see you, fam. Again, big shout out to a long-time supporter, the one and only Mr. David Morris.
What up, fam? Again, I said it earlier, but big shout out to my boy, my brother, my man Armin. Big shout out to my little brother out there, always represent for Super 5. Pit Dog in the house. Appreciate the love, fam. Big shout out to my man Hard Finish Kennels in the house. What up, fam? The one and only longtime supporter, Mr. Burning Star. What up, fam? Big shout out to fam. My man Walter Stembridge. Welcome to the Shark Tank, fam. That's fam. Again, we see who else did I miss out anybody here? Mo, my man Armin said, Mo, I sent you Suburbanite Paul's phone number via messenger. Make sure you get it.
Oh, okay. Oh, man. Thanks on that one, man. I ain't heard from Paul in years. I got him. I'm getting ready to dive back into my 90, 91, 92 Book of Champions, y'all. Tonight, I didn't do it tonight, but I'm going to be in the near future bringing that out and going through some more educational things when it comes to these crosses and breeding dogs, guys. One thing I'm going to keep punching in y'all head while I keep running around here buying these paper bred dogs. I'm going to keep putting these damn match dogs in your head. I'm going to keep showing you these match dogs, and I'm going to show you because it ain't about what you're reading in that paper. It's about what you're looking at. And I'm giving y'all something to look at, then read. I'm gonna stop them heads you're running down there, putting your head down wanting to read. I'm going to show you some good shit that's going to make you want to read it.
Big shout out to AC representing Romania in the house.
The Romanians is in
Yeah,
the house.
appreciate the love, AC. I see you, fam.
All day. Thank you for coming through, fam. You know, and it's just like this. It's all in an educational piece because if you carry it and you understand it, you know, I just want you guys to grow on it. You know, maybe even turn some of these guys into bred breeders. You know what I mean? You know, or you know, get lucky enough to catch some imports. You know, the imports, you know, they slide in here and, you know, that's probably why it's getting scarce out here. You know, guys don't even have to buy batteries no more for their vision. They say it's so, you know, ain't no lights to be running around having to get no night vision. You know what I mean? Everything is in the dark. You know what I'm saying? Hey, guys is wanting to play in the light. You know, in the separated world that, you know, you just hope everybody's safe. You know, I think it's an addiction. You know, I accept my addiction back in my time, and I realize it with everything that I lost. Now that I'm a lot older and understanding of that. But then, you know, I think the dog game was built on addiction. You know, all those great dog men, Maurice Carver and Don Mayfield, you know what I'm saying? I mean, just all of them, white, black, don't matter the color. Just imagine, man. At one point, they all had families. Yet we sit up here and we watch this stuff, these stories, these podcasts, you know what I'm saying, over these old timers. And I look at it now like, yeah, he was addicted. You see the common factor. You know what I mean? And I think it has a lot to do with the competitiveness. Competing. I'm from Akron, Ohio. Akron, Ohio is a competing city. It's a big city in a small space. So everybody's jockeying for elbow space. That's why we have a lot of greatness coming out of Akron because, you know, one thing is real true about Akron. You know what I'm saying? They don't have no problem eating on the weak. You know, in competing, it was such a factor in that, you know what I'm saying? It takes to be a competitor, you also have to be smart. And I think that was where we got a lot of our edge, you know. And to be smart, that means you have to have the ability to learn. You know? And if we want to be competitive and you want to learn, then you have to have the motivation and the discipline. And boy, once that shit start wearing on you, and Lord knows, don't turn out to be a dog, man, because this is where Kenny Allen and all the great Kennels that I talk about and the guys that you hear me shouting out all the time, guys that I look up to. I'm not too proud to sit there and tell y'all don't know why y'all always trying to put me out there like I got the nerve to cat with all the great people I got in front of me who can stand there and vouch for me and look down on you. And guess what? They looking at me, but they're looking down on you. Because you sure as hell ain't got past me and I'm still looking up to them. So they can't be down there. They got to be looking down because when I turn around, that's what I'm looking at. You know, let's just keep it real. Y'all don't want me to start talking the truth because it is the truth. You can't get rid of what's new because it's always been old. You ain't making that new. You know what I'm saying? And ain't nobody doing all that. Everybody, we want to do the things the right way, but don't try to change history because there's just no way. So why bother with it? Stand on your own. You don't need to step on nobody to stand up. Show us some shit. You know, we still waiting. I know I am. That's why I don't even get out there. You know, I have a problem getting out there because it frustrates me.
Big shout out to Live Your Life Dogs in the house. What up, fam?
Oat man, in the house. What up, bro?
I gave a big shout out to Viking family, Viking Royal family. Appreciate the love, fam.
Game Breaker said he was having withdrawals.
Yeah.
I feel you, bro. I feel you. I really feel you.
Big shout out to my man Trevor Leahy. Appreciate the love, fam. My man Trevor said, foreign scatterbred dogs lured Lord Bolio, alligator Chinaman, Bolio, Eli, low posse made that yellow. Got it all.
That's the truth, though.
But they was paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
We see here.
It was the work that was put in, though. You notice, though, it was the way it was put in. If you notice, when they used it all in a tight mode. They was doing outcrosses with very tight dogs. That's how you breed. You know, and they're always reaching, but the thing that I wanted you guys to really pay attention to, not just the inner making of how they was being bred, but the match dogs that they was doing. Remember, this wasn't a whole lot of black. We've seen more color in these pedigrees coming back into the country. These pedigrees, look how they was leaving the country. Look how they was leaving the country, and goddamn, what I'm seeing coming back is better than what was leaving. Because they was able to take those lines and keep them tight and stack them to get results. And what was working, they stuck to it, and they built it and kept it. They wasn't grabbing a bunch of this and bunch of that, all that. All that shit was uniformly built, or you wouldn't see the results that we're seeing. Remember, we're not just throwing pretty papers together. We're showing y'all real bulldogs with pretty papers.
Big shout out to my main man, Eli Monster in the house. What up, fam?
I know.
Big shout out to my man, Mr. O in the house. What up, fam?
Somebody sent me a standing man's pedigree. I don't know who it was. It was Viking. All it needs is some standing man. You know what I'm saying?
Big shout out to my man, the Game Breaker in the house. What up, fam? Again, big shout out to my man, Anthro. Big shout out to my man, Mr. Marcus B. I see y'all, fam. Again, big shout out to my main man, Johnny Rocket. What up, fam? Big shout out to my man, Mr. Eric Watson. What up, fam? My man Afro said Twin City got some of them stand the man blood. The Twin Cities, long as they look, Anthro, you know they still around. That's years of it, and they're still around, fam.
See, there was not enough really the crosses to really build on Stan the Man, because remember Roadblock wasn't Earl Tudor and them. They matched dogs. You know what I'm saying? And same with Joey and them. You know, some kennels, I just didn't ever see Roadblock and them as being breeders. They always had good bred dogs, but they weren't like breeders. You know, that's probably why I never got a dog from them. Now, when it came to the Abrahams, I felt the same way. You know, when they're active, they weren't really breeding shit. They was too busy working shit. You know, I think Queen brought them into the breeding thing, but even with Queen, they weren't really breeding a lot of dogs. You know, what they bred, they used. You know, and you know, True Colors he was probably a kennel partner with the whole down. You know, 85% of the people up that way, you know, they was connected to him because he makes himself connected to all of us. You know, especially if you got a good one. True Colors gonna be on that ass. You know, he's either gonna be trying to go with you or he's gonna be trying to beat you. Right. It's never really no breeder. These dudes match dogs. Them Detroit boys, they match dogs. That's just flat out. Wasn't nobody walking around there with no Earl Tudor hat on. No, they was running around with you know, knee pads and, you know what I'm saying, ready to get down there on them knees. You know, and that's what made them so competitive. One of them areas, you know, that was just known. Yeah, that Natty, Columbus, Ohio area, and that Akron, Cleveland. I mean, Ohio, period, was definitely, you know, a very good place as far as great dog, man. Y'all would be surprised. Mama, he could come in and tell you about all of them. You know, most of every damn one of them, from Tom Ratliff to Kingfish Kid, Ozzy. I mean, there's just so many of them. And then when we get to going deeper into those guys, you'll find your way up there to the Mich, you know, and in Michigan, you know, Detroit wasn't to me, I think Detroit and Saginaw was working like the same, you know, even though Detroit was such a bigger place, but back then there was, you know, and the thing about even back then, you know, we all did a lot of traveling because we all jumped on each other's bandwagon. I mean, Jersey, New York, I mean, it was like, when you know that these dogs are good dogs, you know, who don't want to bet on a good horse? You know, it's like going to the racetrack. You know, Secretary running next week, ain't you going to be at the track? Basically, that's what it was like. You know, how many times we done seen guys go to do a show and next time you see the dog, he going into the person who refereed his show. You're going to rep my match, and then you're going to come out the next time I come out, I got the referee from the last show coming to get me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the game was that deep. It's not a disrespect. It's a challenge of competitiveness. You know, when you got one, you don't care. Bring it, it don't matter, whatever, brother. You know, I ain't got to do the work. You know, and that's what the game consisted of. you didn't have a lot of shit talking unless you was ready to do something. So
I got a question from Old Man Mo.
mm-hmm.
He said, question, twin. Historically speaking, how much influence did breeders have on a keep, if any, in your past?
None. Breeder breeds and takes care of the dogs. They know how to keep puppies alive. They know how to teach you how to take care of your yard. They teach you how to have the right equipment to be able to breed and have a bunch of dogs without a mask, sickness and all that stuff. That's what a breeder was good for. When it comes to keeps was really boiled down to the people who used them, who used keeps. If you're going to want to learn how to use a keep, why go ask a breeder when he know how to breed? That's it. My KP, he know how to breed, but he also know how to put a dog in shape. Because our understanding was, why are we learning to put dogs in shape? Because the dogs that we're breeding. It's better. You know what I'm saying? That's the best way. Them the people you want to talk to, them guys. Them guys is out there with the keep and the breeding. Them was the one back in my time. I was, I'm one of them labeled ones that could do it both. I learned how to breed. And then I learned how to, win with what was being bred. And then you just take that and you keep passing it along, and hopefully people would make the game evolve into something better. But I always thought, like when it come to us, thank God for us, or maybe they wouldn't be shit. That just look at it for what it is. Victor did a lot of breedings with Mayday, but one good thing about Victor, he did become a breeder, but he used to match dogs. He made Mayday famous by winning. He made Choice and Dragon Lady Champions with the help of Angel, you know what I'm saying, and Mr. Link. Shout out to those guys and all the people that helped Victor. But when it came down to Victor breeding, Victor was a very smart man. One thing he did do, he made damn sure that his dogs was going into guys that was knowing how to put a dog in shape. He wasn't passing his Mayday stuff down to no breeders. No, he wasn't. Or they would still just be sitting on the yard getting bred. Those dogs got into people's hands that know how to do a keep. Damn that breeding. And only a few of them came out registering mares, if you noticed that. And the stronger ones where you have to literally say for what it is. Barracuda and Blue King. I would even say Twisted. Twisted didn't get bred a lot, but what he did get bred, he produced. I can say that about our stuff. But and when it comes to our stuff, shoot, well, what we did, we opened the door for everybody else to do, to be honest, and they did it, and they got a chance to eat off the same tree of fruits as we did. It was just the fact that, we had the opportunity to do it first, and what was the purpose of us doing it? Because it was always set in my mind once I got the two parties together and seen what I seen for myself. Then what the world seen after that, and to, become such an impact into the game, I never said I had a patent on the move. I just got a fact that I did it first. That's all. And then just understanding that with the story that I have from what I've done in this game, it's just another part of the story that's got so many other pages to it. That was just part of the pages. If you see the way we break these pedigrees down, you'll understand how bad James Polk really was. But when it comes down to breeding a dog, me and my KP, we are down there. We're like master scientists, and believe me, I wouldn't be shit without him because he put me on. He put me on. You know, and between us both, you know, we became good breeders because we could just, we understood the dogs. Now we understanding how they're being bred. You know, that was the other part. That, remember, I always say, think of the mentality of the breeder, the one who got that female. See, we're not even talking about matching dogs now. We're talking about just breeding. You know, and the certain questions and all those things, you know, and the research that it takes. You know, and he's the first to tell you what we exported out is coming back way better than what we, you know, coming back in to what went out. And you know why? Because they were able to continue on where we ran into a slowdown. They're in countries where they weren't being slowed down. So they're taking these breedings and they're learning. And that's, you've seen all them down breedings. Them breedings wasn't, we went all the way back to the back. But we wouldn't even have to go that down far. We could have stayed right there in the front and just seen a bunch of champions and winning dogs and not know who the hell they was off of. Literally. There's a whole lot of champions in them pedigrees right there that we watched tonight. A lot of them, y'all had no idea who they was, but when we go back and go to tracing back, yeah, you seen stages, but in each one of them stages, and bit by bit, they was scientifically, logically paired up. Like a whole big sheet over here, passed into that shit right there. And the reason why is because it was working. We didn't see a whole bunch of black in none of that shit. None of it. All of it showed its purpose, and its purpose was to compete. And in the long run, you got competitive stock, worth breeding, worth having puppies off of, worth having puppies, period. You know, and I think that's just, the, you know, for the pit bull fancier. You know what I mean? It's not like, you know, we're in the dark bringing up upstairs secrets, you know. No, today we just took a venture down into the, you know, the secrets that everybody thought weren't there. You know, I think it was, to me, it was something that I wanted to do to give everybody a reminder just how good we are when it comes to us in our breeding program and our traits and all those things that I be telling y'all about. You know, I just wanted to introduce you to the fact that what I said, there is definitely receipts there. You know what I'm saying? And I don't fly around in the light if you sitting there watching me with a vampire cape on looking like I need to be in the dark. Okay? So y'all can read it, you can hear it, you can feel it. You know? So a little bit more appreciation to understanding, because I don't like talking about upstairs business. Not when it has everything to do with downstairs business. You know? It's where our worlds are separated. And let me stay in mine, you can have yours.
Yeah, my man, Mad Doctor, said, oops. He said, street sweepers from Detroit, original bounty hunter.
Yeah, go ahead and name it. Westside Hoorah.
Zebo, Arts, all that.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, don't forget Westside Hoorah. Don't forget them. Big Lynn. Yeah, oh, man, they had a mirage of stuff up there. A lot of that stuff up there. SWAT team. Yeah, you wouldn't think I know you saying, yeah, you right there. And don't forget Grim Reaper. Don't forget them boys. Come on now.
You ready to go. Get ready to get out of here, man.
Man. Yes, sir. Hey, man, I really appreciate everybody. Really, really, really do.
Hey, man, I need y'all to help me out here. I'm doing this for my nephew, and if you ain't did it no other time, this would be a nice time to give us all a little birthday present. Because we're not gonna be able to celebrate our birthday
with y'all,
but we're gonna get ready to celebrate starting tonight. That's why we showing up to show out.
Yes, sir.
Now help me out. Show some love. And give me some damn thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Muscles, muscles, muscles. Now for my birthday, my nephew.
Birthday to nephew.
Roses. Roses. We need them damn roses. Show your love.
Show your love, man. Let me out of my daughter. She's calling. What's up, dear? I'm doing this shit. Hi. You okay?
Big shout out to my man Fort Lauderdale D coming off the back street. Just to give a big shout out. Love you for that, fam.
Yeah, man. I see. Huh? Yes, sir.
All right, man. Let me get into this right quick. Let me do this right quick. Let me do this.
Okay. Hold on. Give me 1 second here. Why you at the hospital? That a what?
All right, fellas. Again, appreciate everybody for showing up, showing out. Again, gonna have this big happy birthday thing going on. 64 gonna be looking good here not too long. God bless us to make it that far. Hey, fellas, like we were saying, I know we say a lot of things, but step back a little bit, check out things, and it's that one thing I always said, on the real, don't have to cap. One thing you're not gonna have to worry about coming from over here, we don't need to cap. Might not like what we say or how we say it, but the fact is, it is what it is. And we stand on that. So just to get you to understand that just because what we used to do, like we were supposed to automatically forget, no, that don't work like that. That's what we're trying to show and teach you guys, understand. Whether it's wall climbing, weight pulling, y'all have to make that happen for y'all's way. But the bulldog, what a real bulldog gonna do, he gonna be up to the task if he the right one. The purpose might change, but the dog gonna still be the same. Now y'all need to take that and just understand, we know what a real bulldog look like. That's all I'm saying. Say what you want, but at least we know what a real one look like.
I guarantee you we ain't capping when we say it.
No, by far.
I'll show you who the capper is.
So,
and you didn't hear me say it. You didn't see me say it. You might have heard me say it.
But yeah, man, we don't take it. I mean, I don't look at that. I don't take that kind of stuff personal. But I feel like if I'm going to be taking my time out and sitting this man in this seat going through what he goes through and we putting it out there, the last thing I'm going to sit back and let anybody do is say I'm capping. Because one thing I can do, and I put this out there to any of y'all. Y'all want to put us on your show and y'all want to be able to do what we do? Is anybody willing to sit down and do what we do? Because we got a whole bunch of shit that we can show up with. And that ain't bragging about it because ain't nothing back there that you going to change. But you better best believe it's like you climbed over that wall. Now, can you at least make it to 30? Because you got to remember, you're dealing with a kennel to deal with nothing but killers. So you climb over that wall and you put yourself in that position and you take on that task. I'm going to love you like I love everybody else that stood over there and took that L. It was never going to be about disrespect. The thing was, at least you stepped over the wall. For the ones that we going to talk that shit, step over the wall. That's why we be at with that. Be able to sit down and do what we do. We're going to find out where the capping coming from. Because that's when I start realizing everybody want to get quiet. And you know how we address shit. You ain't heard me say nobody's name, but you know who I'm talking to. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
I don't want us to start acting up.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's easy to just step over the wall and stand up 10 toes down on what you really think is capping. That's all I'm saying. Because you better come up with receipts. Talking ain't never got nobody nowhere. When you talk, you better have something to stand on. When you don't have nothing to stand on, you like them 10-minute, 5-minute curves that you won't even let your dog stop. You would just pick it up and run. You ain't gonna let him finish because you don't want the embarrassment of even being over in there because I can't stay in there 10 minutes. Well, why don't you just go ahead and quit then? No, I can't do that. I'm gonna just, and I'm out. Fake it up. You just fake it up. Don't act like I don't be knowing, I don't be hearing, and I don't be seeing. My thing is, show me you can at least do half of what we done. Because we're nothing compared to the people that we talk about. But somewhere along there, I don't be seeing none of y'all names. I hear a lot of talking, but I can't never I can't never see shit. I hear a bunch of talk. Appreciate what we do over here. That ain't to put nobody down. We doing what we do over here because this is what we lived. You attack that, then at least be man enough to climb over the wall. Put it to the test. Remember, I told you I'll respect everybody who was at least had enough heart to climb over the damn wall. That was a whole lot better than the ones that was afraid to do it. Or the ones that be like, man, twin, y'all got the twins here. Y'all didn't even tell me. Y'all set me up. You know, I've seen all that in my lifetime. I know what them look like. I know what they sound like. Just imagine what them people sound like before they got there. Just think about what they sound like before they got there. And understand what they sound like when they got there. Don't be one of them that got there and all of a sudden, oh, no. Be one that got there and I'm going to stand on what I said and you climbed over that wall. Because at the end, I'm going to still shake your hand. That's the game that we came from. It is what it is. And so take that as a note, not as a disrespect, but as a warning. That's all. It's a warning. Pop back in to let you know. I see. I told you I get around. I hear. So my thing is, I don't have to cap, bro. I don't have to BS. Why would I waste my time? But you can always climb over that wall and we can sit down in there and I got a whole lot. My thing is, can you keep up? Yeah. And that's, just to say, oh, what y'all old did, was you back then? No. Pay attention to tonight's show. And the Ask Show show. Because that tonight was meant to answer a whole lot of questions. Twin, if y'all was going to be breeding, well, how would y'all breed? But whoever told y'all we stopped breeding? Was that a little too rough, Mo?
No.
All right, so as long as Mo said it wasn't too rough, then y'all understand where I'm coming from. That's what matters. You don't never forget. You don't never forget. And things just don't change. We haven't changed. We don't hear us still trying to sell dogs. I think what my nephew has going on is he's doing it no different than what anybody else would do, the same way we learn. Why would you be putting dogs in people's hands that's not going to be ready to run up a wall or run a treadmill or go out and hog hunt? Why wouldn't you do that? You want good people to have it. You don't need to let out many. You just need to make sure it's the right person to show up, because the right person, they're going to pay for what they want. And when you got the right kind of dog, they're not going to be trying to negotiate. They're going to get it and run. And that's what I liked about my overseas people. They took it, they made the best of it, and they opened the doors back for the ones who helped them out to get that, to give it back. Big shout out to my KP. Like I said, modern day Earl Tudor still at hand. Work still in full effect. So big shout out to him. Big shout out to all the ones who took advantage of the situation and made it happen. But we're on a new story now. And that new story consists of taking what we've learned and the things that we know and done and pass it out to y'all. It's for y'all to do what you want to do. It ain't meant for people to sit back and take pot shots. You know, because when people take pot shots, guess what? I can take pot shots too. And my pot shots be like, nah. I ain't take. I'm full blasting. Blah 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 blah. Bring your shit over here. I mean, who you talking to? What you got? What have you ever done? Capping? Who? What the hell I got a cap for? What you trying to say? You know, that kind of stuff right there. I think that should be meant for, hey, ding 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 ding. You over there, me over here, ding ding ding. Y'all done seen them plenty of times. Them ding ding. Them ding dings don't really work out for people too much when it come to us. It just don't. But I open the door to anybody who feel like they can. And I tell you, it don't make us a big bad wolf. It just make us one of them dogs like Pandy. There's just some dogs you just don't want to mess with. That's all. And in this part of the game, in this part of the YouTube world, if ain't nobody else ever done it and do it like we do it, then for me, just believe we gonna be doing it. It's just who's willing to get down and do it like we do it. That's all. And try to be like nobody else. We just trying to be ourselves. And I think that's what makes it easier for this man to sit in this chair and make it harder for me to just get him to walk away. So y'all keep that in mind. And one thing, he take it from Mo tonight. He gonna be my dog of the night again, because we back in here. I had him set up. He already knew what he was coming in to do. Mo don't listen to what I listen to. Y'all, when y'all hear that see going hard pop up, believe me, I'm sitting back listening all the time. Some I don't even check in and let them know I'm out there, but I'm here listening to everything. And with that in mind, just because when I hear it, I'm going to address it. I don't say no names, but you know who I'm talking to, and you know what I'm talking about. And it don't necessarily have to be any certain thing. It's just I feel like don't spit on a man's history because you don't have a future. Because it's evident you don't have a history. And being that you're talking now, I'm really trying to figure out what your future's fixing to look like. Captain. But always, man, one thing we're going to keep on doing, man. We're going to keep on doing it. Yes, sir. You got to be like them dogs. You got to be like them dogs. The dogs get that from you. So, and cohesion, it's an aura that just going to be like unbeatable, especially if it's in your heart to always. Always. I mean, and I said in your heart, you better always scratch the wind. Always, man. Until Tuesday, man. Hopefully we'll make it back Tuesday. I don't know what's be going on, but in any case, I do this day by, it's a day by day thing, But like I always told y'all, It's not like we're gonna be doing this forever. And you know, you see this thing over here. You know, we ain't had no issues, but I think YouTube be, you know, they be doing us dirty type of thing. You know what I mean? I don't want to put y'all out there on blast, but I be looking at these technical difficulties because it's not my bandwidth. I'm on 5G. Y'all just trying to shut me down, but that's all right. I know how to fire back up. Thank y'all for showing up. Keep on showing out, and we'll see y'all Tuesday if God permits.
Yes.
Hey man, let me do the human thing, man.
I'm putting nail dog.